The city of Salisbury has seen a lot of change over the last several years. Just think about the revitalization of downtown, the influx of local businesses, and an increase in housing and property values. Well, we associate civic pride with how our city looks and feels, which in large part starts with strong leadership in the community.
Yeah, we also think about initiatives like the Vision Zero policy, Kind SBY, and many other campaigns to make Salisbury safer and cleaner and friendlier. And it's awfully easy to associate a lot of these things with a certain familiar face here in historic Studio D this afternoon.
One whose title is soon to change. We're happy to have Mayor Jake Day with us this afternoon. Thanks for being here. And the best part is we're not going to make you play cornhole. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember being very good, but
well, neither were we.
Yeah, but we had fun.
We did have fun. Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. So the title you're taking on?
Secretary of Housing and Community Development for the state of Maryland.
And we were just talking about how that just sounds like it's right up your alley. But we're going to talk about that a little bit more coming up in a little bit.
Okay.
First, let's talk about your how many years in Salisbury as mayor?
10 years in local government, 8 years as mayor, long time.
Yeah, so talk about some of your accomplishments, what you're most proud of.
You know, as I drive around Salisbury, I see things that have changed. Signage, the Lemon Hill standpipe. You know, there used to be a rusted old standpipe, but you know, these things that they might seem minor, and they are relatively small projects, but I'll look at them forever as part of the impact we had. You know, rebuilt Main Street, the North Prong Park that's under construction, the rail trail that's under construction, Unity Square that's getting ready to start construction. There's so much that I'm proud of. But the truth is, when I ran for office, when I was finally convinced by my predecessor, then Mayor Ireton, to run for office, it was to change the tenor of Salisbury politics. And I think we can say clearly we were successful there. When local elected officials are oriented on each other and calling each other names and being negative about one another, they're not doing the business of the people. And I wanted to change that, and I think we have.
I'll back up a little bit. Did you ever think growing up you were going to be mayor? Did you ever have aspirations? Or
I did. It's the It's the only job I've ever aspired to. Yes.
Really?
You know, I never aspired to be Secretary of Housing and Community Development for Maryland. I did when I was 7 years old. I wrote an essay saying in the second grade that I wanted to be mayor of Salisbury one day. And I'm not sure I understood what that meant. But that became cemented through, and I think who I am became cemented through the teachers that I had in this community in Wycomico County Public Schools, which included my TAD teachers who taught me about architecture and city planning. You know, my math and science teachers. You know, those who instilled creativity in me too, art teachers and English teachers. But yeah, I think it was an aspiration, and I do think that my life's work has been and will always be making Salisbury a better place for all the people that live here.
All right, I have to ask you though, how much of this job required you to really thicken your skin? Because we all know there's the haters out there.
Yeah, and I think I've certainly always taken the mantra of you know, I'm a public servant, I work for the people, I've got 35,000 bosses, and they don't forget to let me know that, and I've always been happy to serve. But if everybody's happy, and if you're trying to make everybody happy all the time, and that's your purpose, and not doing the right thing, I promise you're not doing a good job as a leader and as an executive. So it's okay to have some haters. Now that being said, I do want to make people happy. I have tried at times to do that, and I want people to feel satisfied with the government services that they receive. So I think you know, you can't make everybody comfortable all the time, but we've tried very, very hard to make people feel good about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of leadership, you are also National Guard.
Yes.
Remind me of your rank.
A major.
Okay. So have you found things in the National Guard and the military that you've been able to take to what you do?
I have. Sometimes that's not always been the most enjoyable thing for my city employees. I think at times, sometimes they've perceived my structure as too militaristic, but I also think I like some of the rigor of having a good battle rhythm and having knowing what to expect, and having clear goals and objectives and metrics, and making sure that our campaign plan is on the right path.
Yeah.
Those are things that I've learned in my military job, and I've also learned things in politics and government and executive leadership in the city that I've brought into my job. Even took on my deployment with me and put into practice overseas. So it's mutually beneficial.
So there's no truth to the rumor that there was that time that they didn't bring you coffee and you made them do push-ups. Nothing to that.
No, but what I can tell you is we have a little ball that has different exercises on it in the office, sort of dodecahedron or something, and we roll that thing, and you do the push-ups, push-ups or burpees or flutter kicks together. We got to stay fit. We got insurance bills for the here. We got to bring those down by getting healthy together.
Well, okay. Well, we talked about Salisbury. We're going to talk about Annapolis and whether that ball is going with you.
Okay.
So we would like you to stay put for a second, and we'll be right back. We've been spending some time here this afternoon catching up with Mayor Jake Day of Salisbury, and he has been the face of so many projects, campaigns, and improvements in Salisbury. I'll have to admit, it is sad. We are sad to see you go.
Yeah. On the other hand, I think you'll probably agree that it makes us all proud to see someone so capable rise to the challenge of a larger scale. So thank you for doing that, but we want to find out more. We, of course, are talking about Salisbury Mayor Jake Day. How long can we call you mayor?
Until Friday.
Until Friday.
That's right.
And that's it.
And Friday, Jack Heath will be sworn in as mayor of Salisbury.
And you're leaving us.
And that's right. I'm leaving. Although I'm not moving anywhere. I'm going to stay right in my house in Salisbury.
Are you going to commute?
Yeah, I'm going to commute. So the truth is, the job's serving all of Maryland, and so I'm going to have a rhythm set up, a cadence, but I'm going to be everywhere. I'm going to have to be in Cumberland some days. I'm going to have to be in Elkton some days, in La Plata some days, in Salisbury some days. So I'm going to be all over the state. So I want to keep my babies right here in Salisbury.
Sure.
I'm going to be right here in Salisbury.
So tell us, what are you going to do? What is your day-to-day going to look like?
Well, so the Secretary of the Department of Housing and Community Development runs an organization that's similar in size in terms of staff to the city of Salisbury, about 450, 460 people. But we have a lending budget and a budget that exceeds $2 billion most years. So we put a lot of capital out into the world. So that includes neighborhood revitalization programs like community legacy, like strategic demolition and smart growth investment funds, and even business lending. So Neighborhood Business Works is one of the premier small business lending programs of the state. It's not in Department of Commerce or some other entity. It's in housing and community development. And on top of that, we finance the construction of affordable housing throughout the state and single-family mortgages. So we help single families, families acquire homes in the state of Maryland. So that's a huge part of the lending and work that we do. It really runs the gamut. It's an incredible agency. So that day-to-day is going to be interfacing with my staff, working with the governor and the governor's team to ensure that we're achieving the broader vision of leaving no Marylander behind that he has, working with the General Assembly on legislation that either we need or that they propose and we have an opinion on, the governor has an opinion on, and then visiting communities and helping them achieve their visions. If you rewind in my career a little bit to before I was elected to the city of Salisbury, I worked for the Center for Towns, which was a part of the Eastern Shore Land Conservancy. I worked with Eastern Shore towns, helping them achieve their visions. Right. I've done the same thing in Salisbury, which is my town, and in part my vision. And now my job is to go help more Maryland communities achieve their visions. It's not to dictate, it's to support. Right. And I look forward to enabling those communities, just as Salisbury has benefited from a lot of grants from DHCD over the years. Yeah. I want to help more towns do the same.
This is a really big animal.
It is a big animal.
So not talking about specifics, do you think you'll be making changes?
There will be changes, no doubt. And I think some of those are going to be philosophical changes and programmatic changes that align to a new governor, a new administration. There are certain things that, and you can hear it in No One Left Behind, that I think Salisbury believes in and Salisbury's done that ought to be elevated to the state, such as our Housing First work, where no one ought to be without shelter. Right. Every human being deserves a roof over their head, deserves shelter. Yeah. And the least of us, are downtrodden, the people in the worst circumstances deserve some help. Right. So the chronically homeless population of the state is a group that I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to. We also have an affordability crisis in America. We have a housing crisis in America. Yes. It's different from the 2008 housing crisis. It's not a bunch of overbuilt, overpriced homes. It's we don't have enough homes to house the people that we have. So we've got to produce. We've got production problems. So we need to build a lot. And building comes with economic benefits for many people. Right. So I'm hopeful that we're going to change a number of things. And then structurally and programmatically, I was proud to reinvent Salisbury government. We moved 77 different teams into a new structure, new organization, a modern organization to serve the people of Salisbury, not to serve some structure designed in the 1930s. And so we're going to have to take the same look at the Department of Housing and Community Development.
I think you're the guy for it. Congratulations. Good luck, Salisbury Mayor, for, I guess, 2 more days.
2 more days.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you around Salisbury.
You will. You will. I'll see you at the marathon. How about that?
There you go. You doing it?
I'm doing it.
All right. I guess I have to do it too.
Looking forward to my Jake Day for President button.
There you go.
It's going to show up anytime now. Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.